puzzled. The pieces are strewn across the table in every which way. It was a jumble of curved and straight edges. I stopped to pick 4 corner pieces out of the pile. Every piece I run my fingertips over in the process. As I locate the 4 corner pieces, sweat begins to form at my temples. My fate is determined by the outcome of putting together this puzzle. I know the finished piece will be of me. I just want to know what will happen. It scared me to no end. It all began innocently. A stop to a fall fair with friends. We wandered the booths and admired handmade goods, jewelry, and art pieces. While we were stopped, getting some hand-squeezed lemonade from a food truck, a colorful tent caught my eye. It was a magnificent purple and red with yellow tassels all around the top. Fortune teller, the sign read, and my eyes lit up like a young child. My friends had no interest in having their fortunes told, and said they would wait for me at the huge tractor that was giving out hay rides in 30 minutes. My wise friends have probably long since given up waiting for me. I approached the tent with childlike anticipation. All my life, I had been interested in the occult and psychics in general. I had always wanted my fortune read. I so regret it now. I ducked inside the tent. The smell of incense burning hit my nostrils, and my heart did this little flip-flop. What was the fortune teller going to tell me? Was I going to be famous? Married to a hot model? Hopefully all of that. A sign indicated for me to sit on the overstuffed chair and pull the rope to ring the bell from Madame Lafronde. I eagerly sat and pulled the rope several times in a row before a tall, red-haired woman with too much makeup caked all over her face in her mid-50s appeared from behind a curtain. "I hear you," she said, irritated in a thick Sicilian accent. She sat down across from me and just stared into my eyes for a good 5 minutes. Her eyes grew large slowly as if she recognized me from somewhere. "I don't believe it," she breathed softly. What? What is it?" I asked, curious of what she had to say. "You are cursed, child," she said slowly. Cursed? Well, this meant she was a hoax. I grew up in a prominent white family. Nothing could possibly touch me, nor have I ever felt that my life could have ever been cursed. I had everything handed to me on a silver platter. My life was amazing. I always had the best of luck. I was always surrounded by people who loved and respected me. How could I have been cursed? A long time ago, your great-grandfather established his empire. The business which gives you the money and enormous homes you live in. But he horribly mistreated his workers that helped him become a billionaire. They slaved away for pennies in horrible conditions for this despicable man. One such worker suffered from poor health and died on the job when his heart gave out. His wife, she went to a witch who practiced black magic. They put a curse on his family line. There is a dark spirit at your right side. He says You are the great-grandson, and you shall suffer the most." She looked to my right with eyes wide and terrified. "No, why me? What did I do?" I asked, panicked. "The family line will end with you and not go further. The business will plummet after your death. The whole company will be no more," she breathed as if she was reading from an invisible script in the air. "I don't care about the business. I never did. Look, I turned down a chance to run it from my dad. The company will have to hire someone new to run it when he dies. I don't have anything to do with it. They can't punish me just because it is a family legacy. I don't associate it with it at all," I pleaded to the dark spirits and the fortune teller, who was now swatting furiously into the air. "You must leave. I want nothing to do with this. I want no part of such evil. Take yourself and your evil curse away." She jumped up, ready to usher me out. "No, please. You have to help me. I'll do anything." I gave her big, quivering eyes, and she stood and thought for a moment. The air was thick and heavy. There was a strong sense of death permeating the air. I felt like my minutes were ticking by faster, and my doom was already spelled out for me. Quickly, she turned back into the area that was sectioned off with thick red curtains. She swiftly appeared with a dusty box in her hands. "Take this home, put it together, and it will decide your fate. The dark spirit will show you. If the dark spirit decides to spare you, it will show just that. But if it shows something more gruesome than—" Her words trailed off as if she already knew what was to befall me. "What is this?" I asked, standing up. "A puzzle. Go, hurry!" She pushed me out of the tent. So much for my fortune. And she didn't even charge me. I took off running. I was trying to outrun the dark spirit. Little did I know it was forever perched on my right shoulder since my conception on this earth. I didn't bother to stop and tell my friends. I just kept on and ran the 5 blocks to my apartment as a light drizzle began to sprinkle all around me. I stopped only to unlock the door of the place that I shared with no one. It was my safe space. It was my large and sprawling penthouse apartment that my parents paid for every month. Furniture I ordered that they foot the bill for as well. I earned no money. I just existed. What kind of life really was that? Maybe I was cursed with not really any life at all. I was a whiz kid at puzzles. Always had been. I was super fast at putting Jigsaw puzzles together, but this one made me shake so hard. The table holding the pieces rocked. I slowly began linking and joining pieces together. It was madness after one after the other fit to begin to form my likeness. I wanted to be as slow as possible, as I knew I was prolonging the inevitable. My heart pounded deep within my soul as I began to make out my legs, torso, and my arms up in the air in a protective state. My mouth was hanging open. As I locked the final piece to myself into place, I revealed the look of terror in my eyes. I was horrified. The next part was hard as well, as it was all black. It was a long and tedious process of matching the shapes of the puzzle pieces together. When I finally had locked the last piece and I sat there confused, it just showed me being terrified of literally nothing. Slowly, as I continued to stare, the black darkness began to swirl around. It pooled and churned as it began to form a figure. The figure started to take form of the Grim Reaper. My heart sank further into the pit of my stomach. Why did I stop at that fortune teller's tent? I was perfectly fine not knowing my fate in such a manner. I am in a bit of a rush, came this deep, guttural spewing. I slowly stood and turned around, coming face to face with the Reaper. I have been ordered to take you to hell, to let the family legacy burn with you, he screamed in a terrifying sort of way. My heart literally stopped as it seemed to fall right out of me. My apartment disappeared and was replaced by a screaming hellscape of lost souls. So many were screaming in sheer pain and terror. I was pushed into the pit of flames and burned alive for sins my great-grandfather had committed. I swallowed the flames and allowed it to consume me, knowing that there was no way I could ever get out of the punishment. Until all went black, and I opened my eyes. I was back at my table in my apartment, the puzzle laid out before me once again. Oh, good. It was just a dream. I must have dozed off there. In a flash, I was back to piecing it all together. 4 corners, my scared expression, and the black darkness. I am in a bit of a rush, it said again. I turned around, still seated. Didn't we just, before I could speak, I was back in the sea of tortured souls. The screams pierced my ears. I fell into the fire again. All went black, and I was back at the puzzle again. A few more times of going through it allowed me to understand it was playing on some sort of endless loop. I paused once to try and call someone for help, but I couldn't locate my phone. I tried to go outside, but I couldn't figure out how to open my door. I sat down to do the puzzle again and realized I was stuck. Only when I completed the puzzle did anything actually happen. So this is why I'm writing this down, to tell my story so that whoever reads this can try to help me escape the madness of an endless loop. I'm going to try some different things. I'm going to try to assemble the puzzle differently to see if that helps. But so far, every time I complete the puzzle, I burn in hell only to reappear at my dining room table to repeat the madness all over again. I can pause to wander my apartment, but that is about it. Can someone find Madame Lefranc for me? Can someone please release me from this curse? This puzzle only makes it worse. Death would be better than this. Please, I need help. I'm going mad. Signed, Daniel Del Rey, October 21st, 1978. Found by the maid as they came to clean his apartment on November 1st. Daniel was reported missing soon after. No one had seen or heard from him since the 21st, when he and his friends went to the fair. The only thing left behind on his dining room table was one single black jigsaw puzzle piece. Madame Lefranc disappeared as well. She packed up and left town as soon as she heard people were looking for her as a person of interest in Daniel's disappearance. Soon after Daniel went missing, stocks in his great-grandfather's company plummeted. The following year, the business closed its doors for good. Daniel's father hung himself in his closet in disgrace. His mother jumped from a 15-floor building to her death. The family line stopped there as Daniel was an only child. For all anyone knows, he is still stuck on the same endless loop, reliving the same hell over and over.